Ahoy, my name is Ben Clanton. I'm an author and illustrator, or authorstrator, best known for the series, Narwhal and Jelly. Some of my other books include It Came in the Mail, as well as Rot, the cutest in the world. And if you can't tell, I kind of like books. But that hasn't always exactly been the case for me.
Learning to read was a big struggle for me. This became especially clear to me when I was going into the third grade. My family moved from Portland, Oregon to Kalispell, Montana. And I was so excited because I figured pretty much everyone in Montana was a cowboy. So I got the boots, I got the hat, I got the belt. And then, first day of school, very quickly learned that this is not how the other kids were dressing, much to my disappointment and embarrassment. But that was far from the worst part of my first day of third grade. Later that morning, the teacher passes out these little cups of liquid. They call them swish. I had no idea what it was. I figured it was some sort of juice. I saw the other kids, what appeared to me to be drinking it. So I drank it. Not much longer after that, my stomach was not feeling so great. Next thing I know, I am throwing up all over the girl across from me and her brand new dress that she had made for the first day of school with her mom. She was not terribly pleased. Great way to make a new friend, right? And yet, even this moment, throwing up on someone, what it was not juice. It was a fluoride rinse. You were supposed to spit it back out, which I had not done. But even that was not the worst part of my first day of third grade. The worst part came when my teacher passed out something else. That would be a book. It was the first in the Boxcar Children series. And I open up the book and I'm going, where are the pictures? At that point, I had not read a chapter book. So I began to struggle through reading it because my teacher had asked us for the next 30 minutes or so to read quietly to ourselves, try to get through the first chapter. So I'm reading as fast as I can, which is not very fast. And I look across and to the other kids in the classroom, and they're all turning pages, and it became clear that they were just much, much further along than me. And I felt like every kid in that class was so much smarter than me. I felt like those kids deserved books and that I didn't because it didn't come easily to me. It wasn't the only thing I struggled with. I also struggled with my pencil grip. And I was frequently pulled out of class because of my unusual pencil grip and because of my struggle with reading. Between these two things, I was convinced that I wasn't a very good student. And I was also then convinced that books aren't for me. They're for the smart kids. But then my grandma Phyllis, she sends me a box for both my sister and me. And in it, there's a certain book called Harry Potter. In that mailbox, in that box, there's a book called Harry Potter. And my mom starts reading it aloud to my sister and me. And pretty soon I am hooked. And I can't wait to find out what happens next. And pretty soon I'm reading the book to myself because I can't wait for the next story time. I can't wait for my mom to read the next section. I have to know what's going to happen. And that, for me, showed me just how magical books can be. Now, I wasn't all of a sudden a great reader overnight. That took a lot more time. It's just like anything else, right? Is if you want to be a really great soccer player, if you want to be really great at balancing pineapples on your head, it's all about practice. The more you do it, the better at you're going to get. Same thing with reading. Thing is, sometimes things come easier to some people. And for some of us, it can be a little bit more of a struggle. But the struggle, I discovered, was worth it.
So now I love books. even though that wasn't always the case. I'd like to share with you my favorite book in this world. In fact, my favorite pages from it, my favorite picture. It's called The Best Book Ever, and here it is. Isn't it amazing? So many details, so much color, so many unicorn flamingos playing badminton with rhino dragons. Dragons? Drinos? Maybe Drinos. I call this the best book ever because it can be about whatever we want it to be about. And this is actually where any book I make begins, is with this and this crazy contraption. The most powerful thing we have, our minds, our imaginations, our ability to fill that page. I'd like to fill that page with you. I want to add something there. So let's head over to my desk to do a bit of drawing. Let's make something. Let's make a character. To me, characters are the most important part of any story. They're at the core, the heart of any book that I make. To make our character here, let's play a drawing game. One of my favorite drawing games is called Mixable, where I mix a few different animals together to make something brand new. In this case, let's begin with not an animal actually, but we'll throw in a vegetable here in the form of a potato. I like drawing potatoes. One of my favorite things to draw, probably my top 5 favorite things, are unicorns, robots, monsters, dragons, and potatoes. Why are potatoes so fun to draw? Well, the squigglier, the wigglier, the more potato-like it looks. It's very relaxing to draw potatoes, especially potatoes with faces. For this one, I'm going to take a potato. So just a wiggly oval with some little marks on it. And I'm going to mix it with a narwhal. So over at 1/2 of here, if I was to draw a line through here, matching it, drawing a line through, on this half, kind of center of that, I'm drawing 2 really tall dots for eyes. I draw tall dots because they look more excited to me that way. It's excited about something, this character. And so they also have a big wide open smile, which I draw a U and then another little U. Fill that in. Then we have its mouth. And then as it's a narwhal, on an actual narwhal it'd come out the upper lip, but in this case, going to have it coming out the forehead, this tusk. And then I'm going to add a couple flippers. One kind of at the midpoint of the body, another one coming off to the side here, trying to indicate that it's on the other side of the body. And then let's make a tail for it. Maybe it's part unicorn too. So we had an nartato, now we have a nartato corn. So I'm adding a couple ears using like a sunflower petal shape for those. And then I'm going to grab one of these rainbow pencils that I like to draw with. It has a bunch of different colors in it. I'm going to scribble back and forth for a mane. Tuft of hair here. Maybe it has a mustache too. So much hair. There we have it, our nartato corn. Let's do another. For this one, I'm going to take a few creatures that live in the region of the world I live in. I live in Seattle, Washington, and we have, in Puget Sound, the largest type of octopus in the world. So I'm going to take an octopus, and for that, similar to that potato, start out with kind of an oval shape like that, but I'm not going to fully finish it. Instead, at the end here, I'm going to add some snake-like arms. Fun fact about octopus. The octopuses, they can taste with their suction cups. They have taste buds on their suction cups to help sense the world around them. We're going for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 3 more to make it to 8 arms. The type of octopus in the waters where I live is called Giant Pacific. So we have octopus here, and then another sea creature that lives around the area that I'm where I'm located is sea otters, one of my very favorite creatures in this world. There are 13 different kinds of otters in this world. Sea otters are by far my favorites of them. And for the sea otter, they have great big noses. So I'm going to add a nose between a couple eyes here. I'm going to have it looking back at our nartatocorn. Seems pretty happy to see its buddy, the nartatocorn. Had some whiskers for our otter. I'm drawing them off on the side of the face here because while the whiskers would be coming out from here, I like to leave it nice and open, the expression of my characters. Don't want to make things too crowded. And then let's see, what's a third creature? How about a deer? I'm going to take the antlers of a buck and add that to the top here. A little ear there, another ear over there. Maybe I could add some of those suction cups. I'm just going to add a few here. There we go. There we have a couple of different characters. What I'd do next, if I wanted to make a story about these characters, is I'd draw them again and again and again and again. Just as I was talking about with reading, getting better at drawing is all about practice. The more you do it, the better at you're going to get. And the better you're going to get to know your character too, the more time you spend with them. I like to ask my characters lots and lots of questions to get to know who they are. Many of my characters start out in, let's see if I have an example of this, in my sketchbooks. I carry a sketchbook with me pretty much wherever I go. Often I have just pocket-sized ones like this that I carry around and doodle in. Because I never know when I'm going to have an idea, something I want to put on paper, or maybe I see a plant that I think would be really fun to draw, or maybe I have an idea for a rock creature or some sort of troll and I just really want to get on paper, but I happen to be in the car. Then I have a sketchbook handy and I can put it down on paper. Make sure it doesn't get lost. Eventually, I get to drawing things in one of my watercolor sketchbooks. I get a little more detailed with things, often add some color. Again, potatoes, one of my favorite things to draw. It was in these sketchbooks that I first began to get to know in character Narwhal and Jelly. I was inspired to draw a narwhal because of another book. A book called Polar Obsession by Paul Nicklin, which is filled with all sorts of really incredible photographs of actual narwhals and other sea creatures and especially polar creatures. And upon seeing those photos for the first time, I was captivated. I have to confess, my knowledge of narwhals up until the point of seeing this book, Polar Obsession, my knowledge was pretty much limited to the movie Elf. Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad. That's as much as I knew about narwhals. I'm not even sure I knew they were real at that point. This is around 2012 that I'd come across this book and see those photographs, and I began to research about narwhals to find out as much as possible about them. To me, it was mind blowing that such a fantastic seeming creature was real. And right away, I started doodling them up in my sketchbooks. But it wasn't until I was waiting in line for ice cream that I began to really get to know who this character was.
I was waiting for ice cream at a shop called Molly Moon's in Seattle, Washington, where they make the most delicious waffle cones. And as I'm waiting in line, the smell of these freshly made waffle cones comes wafting into my nose, starts mixing with the narwhal thoughts that were already up there, and some sweet stuff begins to happen. I start to make connections. I am connecting those cones, the waffle cones, with the narwhal's tusk tooth, and going, huh, it looks a little bit similar. Well, what if this character I've been drawing, Narwhal, is just as sweet and awesome as ice cream and waffle cones? Was pretty much has an ice cream-like personality. It's on this continual sugar rush, but never comes crashing down. Is excited about every moment and everything and everybody all the time. And next thing I know, Narwhal is swimming about in my mind, quickly followed by Jelly, who's going, I'm not so sure about this. I've been drawing jellyfish along with the narwhals in my sketchbook. For some reason, whenever I draw a narwhal, there would often be a jellyfish right next to them. These two just come together at this moment of waiting for ice cream. I go home and I start drawing one story after another using this design to begin with. This was my very first drawing of Narwhal, which then eventually became the Narwhal that ended up in my books after drawing Narwhal again and again. And then those rough stories that I drew that night, they looked something like this. Very loose, very quick. I don't know if you have this problem. I do, where sometimes I can be a bit afraid, or I get a little hesitant about drawing because I want it to work out just the way it is in my head. I have this picture in my head. I want to get it on paper, but here's the thing: is it never comes out the way it is in my head. It always comes out a bit different. And something I've learned is I've just got to do my best to get it on paper without any sort of judgment. So especially for that first draft, my first time putting it on paper, I go really loose, really sketchy with it because I can always come back to it and revise and try again and draw it again and again. I might read just a couple of the pages from the very first Narwhal and Jelly story idea I had. So this was my idea for the cover at the time. I still want to do something with titling like I did here. And here we are. Jelly was originally pink at this point. Hoi, Narwhal. Are you ready to go to the party? Oh, hi, Jelly. Almost ready, but I think I'm forgetting something. You're right. You are missing something. Oh, I know what it is. Huh? Sunglasses! No, I don't think so. Besides, sunglasses are more Octopus's thing. And this is where it began for me, but it didn't end here. I ended up sending these to my agent, who helps find the right publisher for me for my books. And she was very enthusiastic about these characters. It's like, I think this could be something special. But we had a hard time getting the book published. It ended up taking a couple years before I got a yes to publishing the Narwhal and Jelly books. And went from a picture book to a graphic novel. In that time, I got to know the characters better and found a format that worked best for them. More of a comic format is what I found really, really fit for Narwhal and Jelly. And so for me, the keys to creating any story are characters, creating especially your main characters or your protagonists, and then getting to know them really well. And that means spending a whole bunch of time with them, asking them lots and lots of questions. What do they like to do? What do they not like to do? Where do they come from? How old are they? How do they feel about asparagus? I want to know more about these characters and their world than what I could possibly fit in the book. I want to get to know them so well that they become real to me.
Once my characters become real to me, that's when I can make a book about them. And often more than one, because I find my characters have many stories within them. Just as we have many stories to tell ourselves, just waiting to come out. And again, all you need to begin this page that looks like this. I'm curious, what do you see? What's in your best book ever? Maybe grab some paper, or pen, pencil, something to draw with, and find out.